Chapter 6. Author's note. Didn't all just attack me for things written in this chapter about y'all's parents. I haven't explained everything yet, and it will make more sense later.
I'm sure it won't. And you also asked for people to give you reviews and comments. And now you're being an asshole about it again because they did.
The curse!
Oh no!
Dun dun dun!
Dun 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 dun!
Oh, Udard, with your skin so white, your eyes like amber out of sight, pale angel in my eyes, hair like gold rosy sunrise. Okay.
He was blondie brown, not a strawberry blonde.
I'm going to rewrite this more accurately to the story. So, oh, Udard, with your skin so white, sharp erection like amber out of sight. Really dangerous between your thighs. Hair like a spastic surprise.
Yay!
Thank you.
I started reading for you, then I'm like, no, this is your chapter. I don't want to read nothing.
I read the words of my poem out quietly. I had written a poem about Edward, yes, obviously.
Why? Why would you write a poem, okay, and a story about some guy you obviously don't like, but for some reason are attracted to anyway?
I just couldn't help myself.
Well, that makes sense, I guess.
I hated myself for doing it.
Then don't do it!
But I couldn't get him out of my mind, and it was the only way I could deal with my feelings. Well, okay.
No, I'm sure there are better, more efficient ways.
Well, I mean,
like
she's taking
arts training, so you can then come back and kick that Larry guy's ass.
Well, that may be good, but I mean, it is nice that she did like a creative outlet to negative feelings.
Yeah.
I can't really criticize that.
Well, that's not really negative feelings.
But it is kind of negative. Well, never mind. It's not worth. It's not even worth arguing. Suddenly.
Yes.
My mind went black, and I felt into.
It went black.
And she felt into a trance.
Uh-huh.
A tall, pale man stood in front of me, all ghosty and misty, like he was only half there.
Well, that's kind of what happens with ghosts. They're misty and half there.
Who knows if this was actually a ghost, but anyway. My dower. My daughter? He moaned. Who are you? I whisper quietly. I'm your father, I am cursed from the Volturi. You're in terror and peril, my door.
What?
Beware the vampire boy called Edward, and apparently sometimes Udard. Why, I said.
Really? You have to ask that, after he's tried to rape you, twice.
You mustn't let him sex you, or the curse your mother tried to protect you from will fall on you. You'll become a vampire! And you will never be safe.
Thought she was already a vampire. Especially if it's from the Volturi.
Only as a human can you be safe from them. Then he faded and I was awake and Uncle Larry was standing at my door. Take all clothes off now, you mouldy slut, said Uncle Larry.
Moldy slut? Well, I wouldn't want to have anything to do with her if she was moldy.
Yeah, you'd think that this would be indicative of like a necrophilic tendency, but, you know, obviously her foster parents never quite...
And now, I strangely want that story.
What?
A necrophilic story with a moldy slut.
That's actually more inspiring of imagination and like a dozen ideas occurred
know,
of how to do something like that, and I think it's just because my mind and my imagination is desperate to be free from this story.
I have read necrophilia or questionable necrophilic, leaning to stories, and they were actually pretty good. For all that is really fucking creepy, I've read some really good stories dealing with the idea of necrophilia.
Well, with an interest like that, you have to try harder. I mean, you really have to try harder. You can't just half-ass it and go, yeah, that'll work. Like with interest like that, you really do have to try harder. It really requires an extra amount of effort, I think. Even in terms of like pure fantasy. Just like pure dalliance. Casual daydreaming. It requires a massive amount more of effort than, scoring Burning Edward Cullen.
But I would rather read that story.
Said Uncle Larry, and he smiles horribly with his yellow teeth.
We actually get a description other than he's fat and older.
And has yellow teeth, apparently. No, I won't, I screamed, but Uncle Larry came over and hit me. I was strong for my size, but he was a huge fat man, like 300 pounds in weight and stronger than me. Just because you are heavier does not mean you are more powerful.
Yeah.
And so he's
Unless you're like Wilson Fisk, but he's actually a mutant, and that's all muscle, not fat.
Yeah, as he says, every single blasted time Spider-Man makes a fat joke. I swear to God, every time. If you watch any of those episodes where either Daredevil or Spider-Man says anything to Wilson Fisk, he will say, "I'll have you know that every bit of my body is pure muscle."
No, actually, I didn't notice that.
Yes, oh my God, yes. Especially in like the 90s cartoons. Like every freaking time he comes around and Spider-Man makes a joke about how big he is, he is always quick to tell Spider-Man, "I'll have you know every bit of my body is muscle, solid muscle." He says it every blasted time.
I never noticed that.
Oh my God, it's like, and Spider-Man keeps making jokes about it, and he keeps correcting Spider-Man like it's something he doesn't know. It's like Superboy with his tactile telekinesis. I swear to God, he fucking tells everybody about his goddamn tactile telekinesis.
I don't think I knew that was actually muscle, not fat, until like I read a comic.
Seriously, he says it all the damn time.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch 90s Spider-Man and actually see if I noticed that.
Like, maybe I just caught a couple of episodes where he was especially insistent on this, but it seemed like, oh my God, every blasted time Spider-Man made a catty comment about the Kingpin's size. "I'll have you know." Oh God, shut up. I know it's all solid muscle. I know it's solid muscle. We don't have to say this every time. He's just being an asshole. You don't have to...
Well, kids do have a short attention span.
I suppose you're right. He took my clothes off and chained me to bed, which is very unlikely since it kind of requires some element of consent. It's very difficult to chain 4 limbs to a bed without someone going, "Okay, I'm going to cooperate with this," or them being completely unconscious. I knew he was going to rape me again. But at that moment, someone came running into the room and hit Uncle Larry across the head with a stick and knocks him out cold. Uncle Larry lay there bleeding, and I looked up at Edward!
Why would he hit him with a stick?
Yeah, I know. I'd use a brick bat.
Well, I was going to say, in the movies, and I think the books too, vampires are really strong and really fast.
Yeah.
That's why when they go to play baseball, it's in the middle of a thunderstorm, because they hit it so hard, it sounds like lightning or thunder. Doesn't make any sense, but okay.
"OMG, my sweet lady," he cried. "What has this frightful asshole been doing to thee?" Yes, because asshole is totally an old-timey sort of... He's been raping me and hitting me. I weep sadly as Edward
You
unchained...
tell him now. Of all people, you tell Edward, who tried to rape you twice.
Yeah, don't tell your friends or anything, which haven't been mentioned
Or
since
the police.
Or the police, or your teachers, or the faculty, or anybody, or your foster parents, anybody like that. And I put my clothes on. Edward turned away, whale, I dressed. So he wasn't perving on me, and he looked down at the poem I had written.
He wasn't perving on you, but he tried to rape you twice.
I know.
Stuck his hand in your clothes and everything.
And why should he turn away when he's clearly seen you naked, spread-eagled on the bed, chained to it? Like, it's not like he's going to see anything he hasn't already seen, period. For truth, these are the most beautiful words I've ever seen. It makes me feel so very moved. Oh, how humble of you. It's a poem about you. He cried. I wish I wasn't promised to someone else.
He cried.
Write poems for you can write poems for her anyway. It doesn't matter if you're promised to them or not. In fact, most of the most popular poems, like Shall I Compare These to a Summer's Day, were written by people who were not promised to someone and had no real aim of being promised to someone. It was just a poem of love. Never mind. I'm really overdoing this.
It's okay.
This is far more. I'm treating this as far more respectable than it actually is.
We're treating this with respect.
Yes, that's far more respectable than it actually is. Why are you promised to Bella anyway, I ask?
Because I dated her, and then she wanted to get married, and because I wanted to drink her blood and bang her, I agreed.
You know, if only it were that simple in the Twilight world. If only it were that simple.
Well, that was my basic understanding. She pressured him into marriage.
It's.
Yeah. I'm getting myself confused because I don't follow anything Twilight, so I'm basing on what I've been told.
It's complicated. Because, two separate words, I made a promise and I can't break it. It would be rude and ungentlemanly.
It doesn't matter.
Bella never used to be like she is now. When I first met her...
When you first met her? So you punched her in the face when you first met her?
Either that or he's been engaging in a lot of really kinkier stuff than they've been going on with the story. When I first met her, she was sweet and shy, and she was never sweet and shy, I'm sorry.
No.
She was never nasty about everybody. But
yeah, she was.
Changed. But she has changed, and so have her friends. I don't know what made her change. Maybe it is my fault. She just seems angry all the time now. It couldn't possibly be limited characterization. No, of course not.
Yeah, that makes sense. Really? That's what you're gonna say? Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's your fault. It's your fault, Edward.
We left the house and went to walk in the woods.
Because that's what you want to do with another rapist.
We talked about loads of things. Yes, loads of things. As he shot his loads of things all over my face. And it turned out we had a lot in common, which we probably would have figured out if our first two meetings hadn't been, basically
rape sessions.
Yeah. We liked all the same music and movies and books and stuff. It was like magic. Maybe Bella is unhappy because you guys are not in love like you used to be, and you should break up with her so that she can move on and you all can both be happy, I say.
That's actually pretty nice. If you wasn't doing it for your own interests.
Yeah, which obviously she is. She always used to say that she'd kill herself if I left her. I could not be responsible for her death. I just don't get what...
If she is like that, you don't need to be with her. And then you need to tell other people about that so they can watch her and get her help.
Yeah, because that is not a healthy relationship.
Of course, it wasn't a healthy relationship in the books either.
That's very true, too. I just don't get what has happened to her. She used to be nice and sweet like thou, my lady. I'm sorry, Relay Board is neither nice nor sweet. She's an ass.
No.
She may happen to have regrettable circumstances, but that doesn't make her any less of an asshole. She's still an asshole.
Yes. With
And
boobs that light on fire.
With incendiary boobs.
That shoot lasers.
That shoot lasers.
Pew, 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 pew.
And now I'm falling in love with thou, and it is all such a darn mess.
You'll say asshole, but no, you'll say darn instead of damn.
Oh, shucks.
Oh, this is like when we were reading Star Turds.
Everything goes back to that, doesn't it? Everything
Yes.
traces back to that piece of awful.
That piece of garbage. That shall... Well, I was going to say that shall never be named again, but we'll constantly refer to it.
It was that bad. He hit a tree in frustration and it broke. He was so strong, I guess, because he was a vampire. Well, no shit, Sherlock.
So you just discovered that he really is a fucking vampire. How? Did he bite you? Drink your blood? Did he eat something in the woods while you were walking around?
Well, maybe she's only finally accepting the fact that he's a vampire, and he said he was a vampire before, but he didn't prove it by sucking enough. Where was I? You're falling in love with me, which is the wrong you're, but whatever. I ask, my cheeks going all red and my heart starting to soar, which is S-O-R-E, which makes it seem like you are having a pain in the chest, which probably relates to the fact that your heart inflated like a balloon earlier.
Yes. And you're only asking now that if he's falling in love with you? Really, after he's tried to rape you twice?
Are you really in love with me? Well, that means when you put your man carrot inside my leafy lettuce...
Wall of lettuce.
What, your what?
Wall of lettuce.
Wall of lettuce.
Well, or I could say wall of cabbage. Or your celery stick, or
This
something.
is why I admire you, you know that?
You admire me?
You're
Oh,
cool under
that's good.
fire, you know? When it counts, you come through. OMG, forget I said that. He looked really embarrassed. And it was so cute. He had a big reaction too. Which,
That's not... That... No!
yeah, which speaking as a dude, I can say, we totally get totally huge erections when we're embarrassed. That's just what happens. Yeah, I can recall all the times I've got a huge boner when I get embarrassed. Let me think about that.
Why is Edward always horny?
Why? He may not even be always horny, but he's always hard.
He's got the the opposite problem of ED. I was trying to think of somebody who... No, it was Luke. Again, in Star Turds, that constantly had an erection after he acquired one.
Yeah, he got an erection and it never went down, despite the fact that like Chewbacca was giving people head and like poop was everywhere and all this other shit, like suicide and all this stuff. He never
Poop was everywhere and all this shit.
Seriously, somehow he never became any less aroused, magically, mystically. I wish I could have that kind of stamina. I wish I could manage to maintain arousal in the face of all of these things that are just really, really very unappealing. I don't know. It would make life so much easier. I just don't understand how people can do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too honest here, but I think it's pretty miraculous when someone can like witness horrifying suicide and like bestiality and like murder and then vast amounts of poo. It blows my mind. It literally blows my mind. Now I'm going to listen to this later. I'm going to be like, why did I even say any of that? Not said any of that.
Because the story will make us go off tangents.
Yes, the story is so bad that we want to talk about anything else. I reached out
Ew! Threw up, why?
and grabbed his hard, throbbing male object.
What? It's a dick, dear.
That's kind of a weird way of his male object.
Well, she could have called it a carrot again.
That's true. I do like the illustrative nature of vegetables. I don't know. We couldn't control ourselves anymore, and we both fell down on the floor and got naked and made love. It was amazing, lasted hours, and I've never been so happy in my life. Felt like I could die with happiness, but after a while, Edward started to freak out and cry, which is, of course, what you would do. After, I have been such a fool! He screamed.
Yes, you have.
I should not have let that happen. I hope he can forgive me. I must return to Bella, and he ran away. He keeps running away crying.
Why? You just fucked somebody.
And presumably he's still naked, so he's just like running through the streets of Forks, Washington, crying, naked.
Yes.
Think about this.
With his man carrot dangling to and fro.
And I mean, evidently he's very easily aroused. There's probably like whipping around in front of him like some sort of rude prowl on a ship or something. I don't know.
There he goes. Look at it. And he ain't wearing no clothes.
I could not believe it. It was like my world was caving in all about me.
Because he left crying after fucking you?
Well, to be fair, I would probably be pretty bummed out that the dude I just fucked that I had been wanting to fuck apparently for quite a long time now left screaming and crying.
Well, actually, I'd be more like, what the hell is wrong with that guy?
Except
he tried to rape me twice, and then we actually have sex, and then he takes off like a crazy person. I shouldn't associate with him.
Yeah, like the second time they had their encounter, though, he did this exact same thing. So it shouldn't really be a surprise, because he has a trend of, like, running off crying, you know? But see, it could be worse. He could have a trend running off pooping or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess that is one saving grace. He's not pooping at every instance.
It sort of makes me want to write a horrible Twilight fan fiction where like Edward just like randomly poops and.
No, please don't actually write that. We already have Star Turd.
And like the main character is some teenage girl who's like, he pooped so sexily.
Oh, I hope that story doesn't exist. Please tell me. I have enough poop in my life.
I want to take that context out of context so badly. I was so socked.
Yes.
Socked and angry. I could not even cry or scream. But as I lay there, I started to feel deferent. Like relay deferent. Well, you would, because you're a relay board. I suddenly remembered what my father had said to me about not making sex with Edward, or he would turn me into a vampire. My skin was getting all hard and pale, and my eyes could suddenly see a lot clearer than before, because part of being a vampire means your eyesight is perfect.
Yes, also, it takes an entire year for the vampiric process to take hold. It takes an entire year.
I didn't know that it was like that.
I forget what my source is on that, but it takes an entire year.
Oh, me. That is really odd, because I completely had forgotten that. If I ever knew, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's because they turn into more like golem kind of creatures, but their skin has to crystallize and everything. That's why they're shiny.
6 golems.
Yes.
My skin was getting all hard and pale, and my eyes could suddenly see a lot of blah, 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 blah. I could hear lots of little noises even form, relay far away. I even wanted to drink blood, and I could smell him come closer. He was almost here. There you are, you horrid slug. It was Uncle Larry. Where have you been? I'm going to rape you now.
'Cause we would just exclaim that.
Something in me snaped.
Oh, snaped!
Don't bring Snape into this. He's
already been here.
Let him have what little dignity he has left remaining.
I don't think he has much considering the fanfics I've read.
Masturbating in the secret library. Not a secret to anybody.
That was the worst secret library ever.
I jumped at him and broke his neck and drank his blood. I had always been strong for my size, but now I was super strong. He looked so surprised, as one would when someone jumps at them and breaks their neck.
But you didn't it say she broke his neck? Shouldn't he be dead now? If his neck is broken.
Well, not necessarily. So we can just assume that this was the not necessarily because she was just a new vampire. She didn't do it quite right. You know, he still lingered in life and probably had a horrifying, lingering death. And it was so good.
Uh-huh.
That really didn't sound quite right. Just so you guys know, I'm not actually a serial killer. At least not yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, not yet. These fics might make us one.
Soon I dropped him on the floor and he was dead. Well, yes.
That was anticlimactic.
And he was dead. Well,
Nothing more to say about that.
The less said about that, the better.
Yes.